What is the virtue of humility?
It's the first step and the most important step we have to take. And I think that's how we have to begin every single day, with humility and saying, I am yours. You made me. What do you want me to do? I think that quote from St. Teresa is part of a poem called In Prayer, in the Hands of God. And most people know her for her poem or her famous prayer, Let Nothing Disturb You, which is also one of my favorites. But In the Hands of God, which I discovered when I came back, actually I was in Avila when I read that, and I came back home. It was in Spanish, and then I came back home and read it in English, and it was pretty overwhelming. You talk about humility, because through the whole prayer, there's this litany of whatever you want of me. In sickness and in health, in joy and sorrow. I mean, this whole litany of good and bad, And so it's very humbling, because you realize that whatever situation you find yourself, you have to put yourself first in the hands of God.
Okay, yeah. When I think of humility, I think of it as the habit of knowing the truth about myself and being grounded, like the original, the root word for it from the Latin humus, being grounded. So being a grounded person, someone who is open to self-awareness and self-knowledge. When we think about what it means to be created in God's image, one of the capacities with which we've been endowed is the capacity for self-knowledge and self-awareness. So I know Teresa of Avila in her beautiful interior castle. Uh, she wrote the book based on a vision she had of a castle consisting of 7 mansions, and each mansion has its own spiritual lesson that must be learned and conquered before you're granted entrance into the next mansion. And finally, in the 7th, you experience union with God. But she says those who lack self-knowledge have to wait in the outer courtyard of the first mansion. So the lesson of the first mansion is prayer, but the lesson for those to learn in the outer courtyard is self-knowledge and humility. Because she says, if you don't know yourself, how are you going to pray? I'm going to pray for everyone else around me to change, change my family, change my students. Because if I lack humility, I am not going to see myself the way others see me, the way God sees me.
And when you're reading, you then enter into somebody else's way of seeing the world. So you're practicing expanding your vision, you're practicing empathy, you're practicing humility to listen and see according to someone else. You are cultivating what Jesus constantly said, why do they have eyes and not see, and ears and do not hear? You're cultivating an imagination that can both see and hear things that have been lost to the world, have been either silenced or cluttered.
And it's a lot like what my mom said in the first chapter of the book, where offer it up and put it at the foot of the cross. I mean, that to me is it. Everything begins there. And you turn your day over to God and you offer it up. Because what you're saying right there is, you are God and I am not. And I am submitting to your will for my life. And that's where everything begins. If we don't do that, nothing else matters. And so the humility is recognizing who God is, we are his children, and what does he want to give us as our Father.
And so with humility, if I know God loves me, so the key to humility is also knowing that we are loved. Because when we know we are loved and God corrects us or teaches us something about ourselves, it's not going to, destroy us. We're going to know we're loved. We're going to know God is calling us to be better. And so a humble person is attached, as Teresa was saying, is attached to God's will only, and prays thy will be done. We're not attached to outcomes. We're not attached to the gifts the Lord has given us, because I could have a stroke tomorrow. The teaching could be gone. The writing could be gone. What matters is my love for God and my desire to do God. So if I'm humble, I'm going to approach every aspect of my life, my mothering, my parenting, my teaching, my writing, my caring for my neighbor, all of that. And on a regular basis, I'm going to say this prayer: Lord, help me to see myself the way you see me.
It's the first step and the most important step we have to take. And I think that's how we have to begin every single day, with humility and saying, I am yours. You made me. What do you want me to do? Very simple. It's not complicated. We make it complicated, but it's very simple. I am yours. I was made for you. What do you want me to do? Not what do I want to do? What do I feel like doing? What do you want me to do? That's humility to me.
You are listening to The Digital Cafe, presented to you by the Rosary Hour podcast, a production of Travessa de Centro House Press in Porto, Portugal.
This is Father Chris Alar, the Provincial Superior of the Marian Fathers here at the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy, and it's great to be part of the Rosary Hour podcast. This mini-series on the Rosary is an invitation for anyone dedicated to deepening the why behind our prayers. And with that intention, a chance to offer to the Mother of God a genuine desire for change of heart and return to God. Thank you and enjoy, and God bless you.
You can subscribe to the Rosary Hour podcast by going to rosaryhourpodcast.substack.com. That's rosaryhourpodcast.substack.com.